We're going to get into it today, man. We're going to get into it today. And I already know some people are going to be mad. But I'm just trying, honestly, first of all, let me just say this, man. Because people, look, you have the right to respond to what I say in these videos publicly in the comment section. You have the right to do that. You have the right to disagree with me, all of that. All right? But just know that I don't want to say care because that sounds too, arrogant. But I'm not obligated to I make my video, I said I'm going to say, I'm not obligated to have to respond to everyone who disagrees or give everyone a full dissertation. What I say in this video, I'm going to say because this is what I believe to be true. I research some of these things and this and that. I don't just say things just for the clickbait. I try to be fair. One, I'm a believer, Christian. So I try to be honest about what I'm saying and I try to support it. You are free to disagree and in the comment section. But please don't expect me to go to take how you feel and have to persuade you. I get it. People are going to think the way they think and feel the way they feel. And anytime you talk about these certain issues, it's a big deal to people. Big deal. All right? I've been waiting to do this video for a while. I kind of hinted at some of the stuff I'm going to talk about today in the previous video. But, I got a lot of pushback in the comment section. I think I did in that video. And that's fine. You're free to do that. But I don't have to engage because I give my thoughts here. I'm not going to, I got look at these thumbs. I don't feel like typing on my phone to respond to you. I got to go back and read everything, make sure I got the words right. You can feel free to disagree. I know people are going to be angry at this video because they're going to disagree. I want you to know I'm old enough to remember when we could agree to disagree. I'm old enough to remember when we could agree to disagree. So if you disagree with everything I said in this video, fine. If you go in the comment section and tell me why I'm wrong, fine. But don't expect me to be going back and forth with you because it's not that serious to me. It's just YouTube. It's my perspective. You don't have to agree. Having said that, let's talk about this. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, but some other things came up, and I just wanted to give some time to just, grieve. Like stuff I talked about in my last video. Someone I know passed away, and it was kind of, I feel sad. It was sad. So it's been a sad time the last couple months on some levels. But all right, let's talk about this Caitlin Clark thing. All right. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark. I have been saying that I do not think it's about race, her issues, Cheryl Swoop and all of them with their issues. Now, people have said, nah, bro, it's not. Somebody in the last comment section when I brought this up said, bro, you should go listen to Dr. Umar Johnson. And he points out, let me tell you something. Umar Johnson doesn't have credibility to me. So I know I'm a black man and I'm a black man. I don't care what Umar Johnson thinks. He doesn't have credibility to me. So please stop referring me to people like Umar Johnson. I don't care what Umar Johnson thinks about the black community. All right. He was shucking and jiving some stuff at the school. He did all of that. So I don't really care what he thinks. All right. My perspective has been, and I'm going to show you why I think this way. I'm going to walk you through some of this stuff real quick. And it may not be real quick. But the idea that there are people who think Caitlin Clark's hype is due to the fact that she's white, that it's about race. And Asia Wilson was one of the first people to announce this. Caitlin Clark got a Nike shoe before she was even in the league. And Asia Wilson's been one of the most top ballers in the league, right? And so you got all these people saying, black women, it's not fair to black women. This is right? And there is some truth to that in this sense. In America, everything is about race because the historical dynamic in America has to do with race. The foundation of the country was connected to the treatment of black people from white people and vice versa, all that, right? Everything, the Civil War, Jim Crow, the 60s was largely Martin Luther King, all that stuff, it has to do with race. In America, we're not that far removed from these things that race is not going to be. And if you play the race card, that card is going to get you attention, right? It's going to get, because race, black and white are the Lakers versus Celtics of race in America, all right? But just because someone's white and someone's black, it's not about race, right? Now, it can be about race in this sense. Let me tell you where it is about race. What most people think when they say it's about race, they're saying people like Caitlin Clark because she's white and because they want her to be the great white hope. It's about not supporting and wanting black women. So there's a hate. It's almost like a hatred towards black women race, like the racism type thing. That's not why it's about race. That's not, I don't think, there are going to be some people that think that way. There's billions of people in the world. Of course you're going to have that, right? But the majority of people do not like Caitlin Clark because she's white girl. I'm sorry. That's just not, I just don't believe that. I don't believe that. But this is where they do like her. This is where race does come into play. It's a Tiger Woods effect. If Tiger Woods was not black, now I can't prove this because he was black. It was speculation. But if Tiger Woods were not black, he would have taken over the golf world by storm for sure, because people who follow golf would have been like, oh my gosh, this guy's phenomenal. Another white dude. There's plenty of good white dudes. You know, Arnold Palmer and a bunch of just white good, Lee Trevino. There's some good white dudes that play golf. And they were household names in the golf world, maybe bled out a little bit, but not. The reason why Tiger Woods blew up and became like, made everyone look at golf was because of race. But it wasn't because people don't like, but it was because you're not used to seeing a black person play a sport that white people play and be much better than them. So it was like, whoa. So it wasn't like racism in the sense where whites don't like blacks and it was racism. It was about race in the sense that this is not usual, right? We're used to seeing, you get a black dude that comes from south side of Chicago, O Block, and he plays hockey and he goes into the NHL. It's going to be different. And say he's balling, say he's the black Wayne Gretzky. All of a sudden we're going to be watching because a black person doesn't usually play hockey like that. It's going to happen. It's about race for Caitlin Clark in the sense that we haven't seen a woman shoot like that, like the closest thing to Steph Curry that we can see, and be that way in a way, and then beat teams that were predominantly black. In that sense, it's about race. I totally agree with that. Whoa, this white girl's balling. She's dropping three. I mean, they call it a logo for a reason. If it's about race, that's why. That's why it's about race. But it's not about race in the way people think. It's about something much deeper, something else. And that's what we're going to talk about. Another reason why I know it's not about race, because listen, last year in the NBA All-Star game, Sabrina Ionescu, who is traditionally the blondes have more fun. She's blonde hair, white woman. She played Steph Curry in this sort of, in the NBA All-Star game weekend, in the 3-point contest. There was like this contest between them, Sabrina Ionescu and Steph Curry, who's got the finger of God. Like everyone would say, he's the greatest shooter of all time ever. And it's not because he looks like he's white, right? He can just shoot. Sabrina Ionescu beat him in the contest. Right? But the whole world didn't blow up because Sabrina Ionescu, she can shoot three. She's a good player, but she doesn't have the excitement. But she's white woman. It's white woman, right? Las Vegas Aces have won the last 2 championships in the WNBA. Back to back. You know, the only player that I heard about from that team was Kelsey Plum. She's a white woman, Kelsey Plum. Now, it could be she was married to an NFL player, tight end. But that's the only person I heard about. I didn't even know I heard about Kelsey Plum, the 2-time world champion I thought she was the best player on the team. Come to find out, there's Asia Wilson, there's other players on the team but I heard about Kelsey Plum. I didn't hear Asia Wilson say, why aren't people talking about me like Kelsey Plum? This is racism, right? I didn't hear that. Maybe she did. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear anyone say that. It's something else. There are white people who in the league who are dominating. They're before Caitlin Clark. And no one was saying it's about race when they were being promoted. It was when Caitlin Clark came and this rookie class that it became about race, particularly it's not about race, it's about something else. And this is where people are going to get mad at me, but I've been shot at point blank range, so I'm used to it. But here's the reality. And I'm going to show you something in a minute to say why I'm saying this. Let me say this first, and then I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. With Caitlin Clark, to some people, like Cheryl Swoops, black woman, and everyone thinks she's hating. And to some degree she is, although I think her hate is strategic. I think her hate is making her popular. Let me tell you what I think is really going on. I don't think it's about race in the historical way that we think of racism between black and white people, like people like Caitlin Clark because they hate the black women that are playing. No, they don't. Because Kelsey Plum, like I said, she was celebrated. I never even heard of Asia Wilson until recently. And that's to my shame, but I never even heard of her. She's a baller, but I heard about Kelsey Plum. I knew about Sabrina Ionescu. I didn't know how many. I knew them. I knew her about Brandon Stewart. I didn't even know many black women's names in the WNBA. Those are the names I knew. And no one was saying it was about race, and these are white women. Here's what it's really about, I think. Caitlin Clark, not the way she talks and the way she acts, she's not tripping. But she represents something that to people who think it's about race, That's why they're saying this. But it's really about something deeper, and no one wants to admit this. And I'm not saying I'm the only one who's saying it like I'm somehow unique, but I'm not afraid to say it, even if I may get some people unsubscribing or get offended at me in the comment section. It's not about race. It's about something deeper than race. And Caitlin Clark, and not just her, but this new rookie class, they represent something that the presumably we didn't think the WNBA was about. So let me just say what this is, and I'm going to explain why. So stay with me. Don't just hear me like, oh, I'm going to walk you through why. This is not about race because Caitlin Clark's white. This is about, she stands for, in many ways, and a lot of this new rookie class, for heterosexuality, right? It's not about race. It's about something deeper than that. It's about heterosexuality. It's about sexuality. And let me tell you why. The WNBA, you can look all this up. They have historically been a league that does not make money. As good as the players were, all of those things. No one was watching them on TV. No one. They'll highlight that they had their largest viewership was in like 2009. Like, no one has cared about the WNBA, and it's not just because they're not good players and all of it. One of the primary reasons why is it's because about sexuality. You have to understand the cultural context that we live in. And let me give you an example. The Olympics, recent Olympics, right? The opening ceremony where where people got offended because they thought all of these trans men and all these people were mocking the Last Supper. Now, people focused on was it mocking it? Was it this? Was it that? Let me tell you what people were really offended at. A lot of people that were offended don't care about Christianity. They weren't believers. There were Christians that were offended, sure. But there were a lot of people that were outraged at seeing this, at seeing the Olympics, schools in session. That's a school bus dropping off someone. It might be my son. I don't know. Right? But people were offended at seeing, and the pushback was against this sexuality that is demonstrating all over the place, and it's mocking. It's that. If it were a bunch of just men doing it, no one would have cared. But it was clearly a sexual ethic that people were pushing back against. And let me tell you why people are pushing back against it. Because this is what people don't realize. L, G, B, T, and Q. Let's start with L, G, B. L, G, and B, it makes sense to us. Even if you don't approve of it, it makes sense. Women want to be with women, men want to be with men, and some people like men and women. That makes sense to us. We don't have to change anything about the way we understand the world, except that you either agree or disagree with it. That makes sense to us. But after Obergefell and gay marriage in 2015, then the T started to come out. And the T and then the Q, it stopped making sense, and this is what happened. LGB, there's no biological issue. Yeah, they try to say there's a gay gene, but it didn't really matter. It's still women and women. That makes sense to us. We've been seeing that since Genesis 19. I just bit my lip. We've been seeing that since Genesis 19. Makes sense to us. When the T comes along, now you're changing our understanding of science, biology, because you're claiming to be something biological that you're only that psychologically. You're still a man biologically, but we're supposed to identify you as a woman because that's how you feel, right? So now the T comes, and it's basically not just saying, it's one thing to say, hey, we exist. It's another thing to say, you have to disagree with everything you've been taught from science to accept us, right? And then comes the English language. Now, we have to think of pronouns in a completely different way. Let's just be honest. We have to think of look, in the Bible, whenever an individual was called they, it was because they had demons in them, right? Now you might have to call, so like you can see a person, think that's a man, but no, I identify as a woman, and my pronouns are, so not only do you have a sexual ethic that we have to agree with, we also have to agree with a new way to think scientifically and a new way to talk in the English language. My friend has some daughters that are in middle school and elementary school. I said in England, and I got 3 kids in school. I got 2 kids in high school, 1 in middle school. They may be taught that, hey, when you see someone that they may not, their pronouns may not line up with who they are. They may be one person, but they might be they, and that's confusing. See, LGB, that makes sense. We get it. We may not agree with it. Okay, fine, but it makes sense. T, and then you add, once T comes, it's like now we can't even trust our own eyesight or our own ears or our own brain. Something's wrong with us. Then you get, well, now I'm non-binary. I'm this. I can change how I am any given day, and you have to keep up, or you'll misgender me, or whatever it is, or there are consequences, right? That's a completely different society. And not only that, the people who subscribe to this are demanding that everyone change the way they've always thought about science and English and other things, right? So this is the thing. If you can't trust what your eyes see, what your ears hear, and how your brain functions and processes, you don't know what to believe anymore. You're technically, you can't trust the very faculties that have given you information the majority of your life. You can't trust them, right? This is the culture we live in. This community, people who identify like this are demanding that everyone kick out science, kick out English, and all of that. And so the pushback on the Olympics was people are tired of being told what to think and that they have to agree with a sexual ethic and a psychological ethic that doesn't make sense to them. And then America, and particularly, we are the rights people. We are guided by rights. I have a right to, and that carries over. You ever been in an international airport and seen some American flipping out because they mess up his paperwork? And they be like, I'm an American citizen. Like, so what, fam? You in Nepal right now. My dude, we in India. We in Mumbai, India. Nobody cares if you're an American citizen. But that's how we think because we're a rights-driven society. Even in Christianity, we're more driven by we think our faith should be seen through the First Amendment, the right to practice our religion, than the Bible. The Bible does not say we have a right to practice our religion. It says we have a responsibility to amidst persecution and tribulation, right? This is what the Bible teaches. The First Amendment, the Constitution, is how we think of ourselves instead of the Bible. Well, people are tired of it. And that pushback in the Olympics was a pushback against feeling like you're forcing me. I'm tired of this, right? So what does this have to do with Caitlin Clark and the WNBA and why it's not about race? All right. Here's the problem. In 2014, the WNBA became the first professional sports organization that adopted a sexual ethic. Let me show you this. So you know I'm not making this stuff up. Let me show you this, all right? Look at this right here. Listen to this. The Women's National Basketball, the WNBA, has been actively involved in supporting and celebrating LGBTQ pride through various initiatives and campaigns. This is not just Pride Month in June, right? This is not that. Watch. It says, number one, the Pride Month initiative. So that's Pride Month. The WNBA celebrates LGBTQ Pride Month in June with a series of activities aimed at fostering an inclusive environment. This includes participating in events like New York City Pride March and so forth. All right, number two, Pride Unity Collection. The WNBA collaborates with brands like Fanatics, Player Society, and iSlide to create exclusive Pride apparel. Proceeds from these collections are donated to the LGBTQ charitable organizations such as, okay, that's that. Number three, content and media. The league produces content that highlights the stories and experiences of its LGBTQ plus players that includes a series like Pride is Love, which showcases personal stories and the support systems within the community. You see, this isn't just in June. This is what's happening. Look at number four, community engagement. The WNBA engages with its fan base through social media campaigns using hashtags like WNBA Pride and organizes community events and in-arena experiences to celebrate Pride. All right. Number five, historical commitment. The WNBA was the first professional sports league in the U.S. to officially recognize Pride as an initiative starting in 2014. This move was part of a broader strategy to embrace equality and combat bias against the LGBTQ community. Overall, the WNBA's involvement with Pride is extensive and multifaceted, reflecting its dedication to diversity, equity, and inclusion within the sports community. Okay, this is important, what we just read. I'm going to come back to this if I need to. Let me tell you why this is important. Because the WNBA is the first professional sports team that attached itself to a sexual ethic promoted this ethic, not just during the 1 month given to those folks, but promoted it as a standard thing. Now, let's just say you have a young daughter that loves basketball and she wants to go to a game. It's 2017. She wants to go to a game. If you go to a game, regular games, maybe July 12th, there's a possibility that this sexual ethic will be promoted, and you haven't even had a conversation with your daughter. You just want to watch basketball. She just wants to see other women play because she's a girl and you want to empower her and you want to see it. You want to make it happen. So you go to a game, but now you got to worry about a sexual ethic. You got to worry about pride memorabilia on all the seats and having to explain to your daughter what's happening at timeout events. You just want to go to a game. You're not worried about a sexual ethic right now, right? Now, don't get me wrong. In America, if you believe in the Constitution, that life, liberty, if you believe that, if that's what you believe, if you're a constitutionalist, then you should think that they have a right to all the things that they're asking for on one level. If you believe the Constitution, if you believe that that's the governing documents of our country, then you shouldn't deny them some of the things that they're asking for. There's nothing wrong with them. When I say nothing wrong, I'm not talking about morally. I'm talking about from a society perspective. There's nothing wrong with them wanting to have visibility and all that. That's America. That's what America signed up for. Now, they may be morally wrong on a religious basis, but that's different. And from a society basis, there's nothing wrong with them being able to showcase who they are. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. When you're trying to make people be allies and shame people for having a view from scientifically and through the English language that now doesn't match who you are, and it's become an agenda where everyone is being forced to deal with it or else, when you're afraid of misgendering someone because of the consequences, or you can't even say certain words on YouTube because you might get flagged, right? You got to come up with different ways to say things. It becomes tiresome. You know why? Because there's no other professional sport that we think about that in. There are gay people, lesbian, in every professional sport. NBA, MLS, MLB, NHL, NFL. We know this. We know this. We don't care. We get it. Gay people, all these people have existed since Genesis 19. We get it. We don't have, on one level, we accept it. It is what it is. We accept it. They're everywhere. There's people in all the sports that we see. No one has a problem with it. But when you go to an NFL game, you're not going to worry about the sexual ethic being promoted. You're not going to worry about when you go to an NBA game, it's about basketball. If you don't care if the 2 point guards are lovers. It's about watching who's going to win the game based on skill in basketball, not the others, the sexual ethic. And most Americans, I don't care what anyone says, most Americans do not want to hear about this stuff all the time. We can be sensitive to the fact that you exist and you have a right to exist in it, but we're not going to just all of a sudden change everything. And I'm not going to have to worry about, I just want to watch basketball. I want to see this play. The WNBA is the first professional sports team to adopt the sexual ethic and promote it. And there's gay people in all other sports, but we don't care because we don't have to be inundated with it. And this is what the pushback to the Olympics was about. So what does this have to do with Caitlin Clark and all of that? Caitlin Clark made people get excited about watching basketball. In the Final Four, I was talking to my friend before I did this video. In the Final Four, we watched the women's Final Four, didn't even care who won on the guy's side. That's never happened in my life. It's never happened. And it's not because I'm a race hater or not. It was just because I don't feel like, when I watch a sport, I don't want to watch all the politics and the socioeconomic drama attached to it. I just want to watch people play. Listen, if it's the playoffs, I can watch cricket. I can watch any sport. I can watch Yugoslavian folk dance. If it's the championship, then I know these are the best people that do it. I'll watch it. I could care. Now I haven't seen it before, but I would, because who cares? Because you know it's about sports. But if you start talking about this agenda and this, and you need to be out and all, then it's like, man, I'm not trying to watch this, right? So when you watch any other sport besides the WNBA, you're just watching people play sports. But when you watch this, you have to watch the initiative, the sexual ethic, and you just don't want to have to do that. It doesn't matter. It's not wrong. It's not right or wrong. It's just reality. You don't have to do that in anywhere else. You can just go in and go, that's all it is, right? So Caitlin Clark comes in and she's just shooting the lights out. Here's a white girl. Here's the race part. Whoa, a white girl from Iowa's like dropping threes and beating teams that are all black. Like, whoa, I never seen that before. It's like the Tiger Woods. I never seen a black dude come in and do that before. So this is what's going on, right? This is what's happening. It's not about race and that, well, they hate them because they're black and they're white. No. That part is about capitalism. That's about green. That's the color. If they thought, hey, everyone in the country is talking about Asia Wilson, they would get it. But to be honest with you, Asia Wilson is a beast, but she plays down low. Even in the NBA, and there's no more centers like Shaquille O'Neal no more. No, that's gone. You got Bama's like Wemby coming down shooting 7'3", 7'4", blocking shots, but then bringing the ball up the court shooting threes. The game has changed. So no one cares about post players the way they did. No one cares about that. Even Karl Anthony Towns, 6'10", 6'11", winning three-point contests. Like that's changed. 3-point contests have changed the game. So you got this girl, this white girl, beating people who are black that you didn't think would happen. In that sense, it's about race. But then she can shoot the lights out. They call it who else have you ever been heard called the logo? I haven't heard any other female, even male, called the logo. They call it a logo because it's like, my God, did you just see where she shot from? She took 2 steps after half court and pulled it. And I was like, no way, swap. And you like, hold up. Wait a minute. This girl, this white girl is crazy right now. Then you see her come down again, come off the screen, pass it, come over to her left. No way she's going to swackle. And it's like, what? You can't believe it. Because Steph Curry made you want to watch 3-point shots even more than dunks. So here comes a girl that's doing that. So now everyone wants to keep watching this girl play. Because it's not, there are other girls that are good, Paige Beckers, Juju, they balling. But but the 3-point shot is immortal. It's different now. Steph Curry made us think this is crazy. And now you have a girl that can do it. And it's a white girl at that. It's a white girl. Now, I will say this. I think if Caitlin Clark identified as a lesbian, I do think that there would be less attention. And you know why? Not just because of her, but because there's such an agenda attached to sexuality. And most of us, look, we get it. We accept it. You're here. We get it. But we don't want to have to be forced. This is why people don't like hearing about race. You don't want to have to be forced to think something about black people because you're tired of hearing about it. We're all just tired of hearing about race and about sexuality and gender. We're just tired of it. We're tired of it. We're just tired of the double standards, we're tired of it. Just play ball. We don't care. Just play ball. We get it. Play ball. And so what you have is all of a sudden, I want to watch this girl play again. And then the people who are playing against her are playing harder because they don't want to be shown up. So now you're making these other players play because you know everyone's watching you play. Everyone's watching Caitlin Clark. So the people she's playing against are like, I'm going to play the best game of my life. Every time Caitlin Clark plays, I think it's the Super Bowl for people. Even though she's not as established as some players, it's like the Super Bowl because when Caitlin Clark comes, you know everyone's going to be watching, and it's not because she's white, because there were other white players. Like I said, I never heard of any other Las Vegas player until Kelsey Plum until recently, and she's white. No one was saying it's about race then, but Caitlin Clark represents a heterosexual reality where in this whole crop of rookies coming in, they're not identifying with no politics. Recently, they tried to put Angel Reese to identify with Kamala Harris. She was like, I haven't done my research. She wasn't tripping because she doesn't care. And this is why we like this crop of rookies, because they don't care about the sexual ethic. And Caitlin Clark's best friend is Kate Martin. Kate Martin's a lesbian. So we know Caitlin Clark doesn't have a problem with it, but she's not attaching herself to any agenda except Indiana Fever winning and women's basketball being more promoted. And we're good with that. And she's good. All these girls are not coming in, and it's not about a sexual ethic. That's the underlying issue. We don't want to. So Cheryl Swoop, she's a lesbian black woman. Or at least she was. She was married and then got married to a woman. So for her, you see this white girl coming in and you attach, oh, they like her because she's white and she's straight. And they didn't support us because we're black and we're lesbian. And it's like, nah, fam. It wasn't that. It was just there was a time where women's basketball just wasn't consistently good enough. People weren't drawn to it. Listen, and this might offend some people too. And I'm on a roll probably at this point. I'm not trying to, but I get it. We live in the United Sissies of America. People just get offended at the wildest stuff. When I grew up, man, they used to say sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Remember that? That's what I grew up on. Now it's names will hurt me. You don't even got to use sticks and stones. So stop it. It's like, what are we talking about here, right? I thought we used to be tough and like, hey, we can handle anything. And now I was like, oh my gosh, you called me outside of my name. Man, please. So anyway, there was a time where it wasn't as amazing. It wasn't as good. They could ball. Lisa Leslie was a good player. I thought Cheryl Swoops could ball. Shamika Holesclaw. I thought these girls could ball. I thought they could. I mean, when Houston Comets were balling with Cheryl Swoops and what's her name, Tina. Was it? I forgot her last. I was about to say Tina Turner, but I know that's not what it is. But it was like, man, they was balling, but it wasn't. At the time, it just wasn't enough for people to support a league. There were individuals that were standing out, of course. And over time, it's gotten better, but it needed someone. And I think again, remember this, look at this. Historical commitment. The WNBA was the first professional sports league in U.S. to officially recognize Pride as an initiative starting in 2014. So now you have a sexual ethic, which in today's world is really a political agenda attached to a professional sports team. And honestly, people just don't feel like it. They don't want to hear that. And I'm going to be honest with you. Once gay marriage passed in 2015, and then the T came along, the trans movement came along, and then the non-binary, people just got tired of it, man. In all honesty, I don't even want to call you. You don't even want to use pronouns no more, and that's part of the English language. You just don't even want to do it. You don't want to ask like, what are your pronouns, man? Can I just excuse me, sir? I'm not a sir. Okay, what's your name? I don't care. Okay, cool. Your name. Give me your name, fam. It's like, now I gotta identify. You force people, so people are just tired of it. So Caitlin Clark comes in. There's no agenda. It's just, I'm just trying to ball. There's no agenda. There's no sexual ethic. Caitlin Clark hasn't said anything that I've heard or that any of us heard about race. Or she's not in there like, yeah, well, they better be glad. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be. She ain't saying none of that. She actually encourages these other teams. When the Minnesota Lynx, they just lost to the Minnesota Lynx in the press conference, she talked about how much they were like, hey, and they do this every game. This is the reality. And this is why people are really mad, because when Caitlin Clark comes, more fans come out to watch you play in your home city than when she doesn't. So when they come out, you got to play tough because you're trying to get those fans to come back. But you got to you're somewhat offended that they're coming to watch it. So you attach all these reasons to it because you're not humble enough to admit that, you know what? We just weren't exciting enough to get more of our fans to come out. So when they come, they're cheering for Indiana. So they're like, man, sometimes it sounds like a home game. Caitlin Clark, every time they say this to her. What do you think about the fans? And kind of at times sounding like you were at home. And then she's like, no, the fans are really great. And it's really cool to, go places and have them cheer and to see the Indiana Fever number 22 jerseys. But these fans also know that their team is really good and they respect them and that these women are worth coming out. She does that every single game. Every game she says stuff like that. She may be arrogant at times on the court. There's probably things that she says we don't know about. But how she presents herself publicly does not warrant any attacks on racism and stuff coming from her. No, what she represents is two things. Just normal sexuality, but even more than that, just playing ball and no agenda. We don't want agendas attached to our sports. That's why people got pissed off at the Olympics. Man, save your sexuality for something else. This is the Olympics, fam. We're not trying to watch you and then you mock another critic. Like, for what? I thought y'all was supposed to be about inclusivity and equity. What are you talking about? Like, we're tired of, because you know what? There's such a hypocrisy when it comes to these politics and sexual ethics. There's such an hypocrisy to it. We're tired of it. My next video is going to expose another political hypocrisy. We're just tired of it. And so when it comes to Caitlin Clark, you can say it's about race all you want. It's not about race, though. It's not. It's about race in the sense that a white girl is shooting the lights out the way we've only seen black people do, just like Tiger Woods. This dude's playing better than the best white men we've seen play. Whoa. If Tiger Woods were white, the whole world wouldn't have been watching golf. It just because he would have been big in the golf world, but not in the real world. because it's just different. We're not used to seeing a black dude. In that sense, it's about race. But it's not about race the way Cheryl Swoops and them are saying it or the way people think they're saying it. No, what Caitlin Clark represents to most America is a no-agenda, exciting way to play basketball. That's what it is. And so you want to watch her play. She got 3 games this week. She plays tonight against Atlanta, Wednesday against Connecticut, Friday against Chicago. I'm going to watch all of them games. Those are the only games that I watch cover to cover because I like watching her play. Even when she's having a bad game, you're like, wait, she's going to heat up though, because you want to see a couple of deep threes. That's what it's about. It's about no agenda. She just comes in and plays ball. These new rookies coming in, they're not identifying. They're not putting their sexual ethic everywhere. A lot of them have boyfriends, and we know that. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a man, you're like, man, do that. But I think people are getting tired of feeling like in the sexual ethic and the dismissal of science and the dismissal of and the changing of English. People are just tired of it. And so up until recently, the WNBA was a agenda for sexual ethic and a pride initiative that people were like, I just don't care. I don't want to go to a game and bring my kids there and have to explain to them what pride means. I just want to go. When you go to the NBA, you don't got to explain all that to your kids. They just get to see the player. Dad, look at Steph Curry. Yep, there he is, son. That's all it is. You don't want to have to explain to your kid a sexual ethic. You just want to watch the game. But when you go to the WNBA game, you gotta explain the sexual ethic so people weren't going to the games. And then they weren't exciting enough on some level for some people, so they weren't going to the games. I mean, to be honest with you, the games could be packed every week if the Pride Initiative, all the people were coming in, even they weren't going to the games. But then all of a sudden now, here comes Caitlin Excitement Clark. She's pulling threes from all over the place. She's not promoting no agenda. She's just trying to play ball. She's not talking no trash off the court, maybe on the court. She's a competitor. We get it. We just want to see good ball. She's breaking records all the time. How are we watching? We don't care if the fact that she's white, it's only because you think, oh, let me tell you something, man. This is actually a credit to black people. Black people, by the grace of God, I really believe that the Lord has given black people an athletic ability and a way to do things like through singing and stuff, that God blessed black people with it, partly because of the treatment of black people throughout American and world history. So black people are usually the better athletes, the better, are singing, and I mean, to be honest with you, let me tell you this. I'm not going to go deep into this because some people, everything is woke when you bring up race and stuff like that nowadays. But I'm going to be honest with you. Entertainment did more for black people in American history than the church. Entertainment did more for black people than it. In the 50s, there was racism everywhere. People hated black people, but boy, they couldn't deny Jim Brown, that big black dude running over these white dudes. They hated Bill Russell, but man, they couldn't deny him getting rebounds and scoring over these white dudes in Boston. They said Bill Russell hated Boston, but he won 11 championships with them. They did not like black people, but they cheered for Bill Russell, right? If you watch old Motown footage, you will see Smokey Robinson and Miracles. My mama told me, you better shop around, shop. Oh yeah, you bet. And it would be all white crowds. They got their hair all slicked back. It wasn't until the 70s when black people was like, they tired of it. They getting cornrows. They got bushes. You got Curtis Mayfield coming out there. James Brown talking about, say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. No, it was, entertainment is what made us more accepted in white community. Do you know in the NBA, when the ABA was coming to the WNBA in 1978, Oscar Robertson was the head of the Players Association, and they were trying to combine both the leagues. And when they did, man, the NBA was losing money. Like they called the New York Knicks the New York Knickerbockers. White people, it was losing money. You know what saved the NBA? There's a documentary. You know what saved the NBA? Was the 1979 college basketball game between Indiana State and Michigan State. One Irvin Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird. Magic Johnson and them won the game. It was the highest, it may still be the highest watched NCAA game. But then those two boys went to the NBA. One went to Boston and one went to LA. And then for the next decade, it was the Lakers versus the Celtics, the Hick from French Lick versus, and it brought back white people were like, yes, we got somebody white that can play. That's just the reality. And they brought back excitement. And then it didn't become about being white anymore. It became about Lakers versus Celtics. Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson. And one year, the Celtics would win. The next year, the Lakers would win. And that's what it was. It was about that. Black people have gotten where we are more by entertainment than the evangelical church. So people are used to seeing black people who are gifted athletes. There was a long time when black people were said they can't play quarterback. So all the quarterbacks were white. And then comes a dude. Then you had Warren Moon and what was the dude from Philly? Randall Cunningham were the only two black quarterbacks. Then all of a sudden, then comes a black dude named Michael Vick. And not only is he a quarterback, this is before we knew he was fighting dogs. Not only is he a quarterback, this dude is scrambling. And then all of a sudden, you got Randall, then you got Donovan McNabb. And all of a sudden, and now a lot of quarterbacks are black. It's like God gifted black people through the realms of athleticism and entertainment to get us to the place of equality in America way more than the evangelical church did. Don't get it twisted. The people that were marching with Martin Luther King were mostly Catholics, not evangelicals. So people in America are used to black people being gifted. That's why when Eminem came out, they was like, yo, if Eminem were black, nobody would have cared. You know why? Because we know black people can rap. They're talented. They created the music. They're gifted. But when Eminem came out, this was like, wait a minute, this ain't no third base. This ain't no Snow from Canada and Farmer. No, Eminem was coming out. Hi, my name is, hi kids, do you like Primus? Do you want to see me stick 9-inch nails to my eyelids? Want to provide it? And he could rap, and it was like, whoa, and he's with Dr. Dre, and it's like, whoa, this is it. Eminem, it was like, whoa, we don't see white people rap like this is normal. In that sense, it was about race. You don't see white people that can rap like that. Eminem's one of the best lyricists, whether you like his music or not. His wordplay is better, I think, than the majority of black people. You can't touch his word. Everything he says isn't tough, but the wordplay, the way he puts it together, oh my gosh. You hadn't seen it before. That's what it was. People are used to black people being talented. So when you come in to something that black people are normally used to doing, and you're white, it's like, whoa, hold on. That's what it is. That's why if it's about race for Caitlin Clark, it's because of that. It's not about race like people don't like her versus Asia Wilson because Asia is black. Sure, there's going to be some people, you will always find that. This is America. You will always find that. But if we're being honest, though, it's really about people just want to watch sports, man. So now guess what? When Caitlin Clark is playing, you know what it's going to be about when you come to the game? Caitlin Clark, her scoring, her shooting, her assists, and then the other people who are playing. You're not going there thinking it's going to be about an agenda. So you're fine taking your daughter to watch them play because you don't got to worry about having to explain to her what pride is, and you don't because they don't care about that. We don't care about that. You know it exists and it's fine. Do you? But don't make me have to care about it just to watch a game. And that's why people are excited. That's why her games sell out, because if you go watch a Caitlin Clark game, it's going to be about her balling. Her threes, her assists. It is not going to be about any sexual ethic initiatives. They take a back seat that night. And that's why Caitlin Clark, in many ways, is that. And it's just the reality. And you don't have to agree. You don't have to like it. You can read what I'm saying the wrong way. I do that. This is YouTube. I get it. You can unsubscribe, all of it. I understand. My point, this is what I believe. I'm not going to go through the comment section and debate everything I think. This is what I believe has happened in the culture. And I think people are tired of having to act like this sexual ethic should be able to change science and English just because you feel that way. And so they're pushing back. So when you watch, and this league has largely been associated with a sexual ethic that people are just tired of having to acquiesce to. So now you got these people coming in and they just want to play ball and they're really good at it. And we'll watch that. Now people are bringing their kids. They're bringing their kids to see this girl play. They're not bringing their kids to learn about a sexual ethic. It's the only professional team that is sponsored by the Pride Initiative. And in the Bible, which I believe to be true, pride is not a good thing, my friend. So anyway, that's what I think. It's not about race, Caitlin Clark. Only the fact that the white girl is shooting threes the way we're used to seeing black people do, just like Tiger Woods. Black dude was putting and hitting shots the way we're used to seeing Lee Trevino and them do, Arnold Palmer and them do. We get it. In that sense, it's about race. But the hatred part, it's about race. No. It's honestly, for the first time in the last 10 years, the WNBA is not being associated with the sexual ethic. It's not. And so now here come all the sponsorships and all of it. And these corporations, listen, people have grown. I think the LGBT community, they deserve respect. I don't agree with them morally, but they deserve respect. They're made in the image of God. They deserve that. They deserve respect. And to some degree, I think they deserve what most Americans who subscribe to the Constitution get. Constitution says life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If you believe in the Constitution, then their pursuit of happiness may be different from yours, and you can't get mad at that. That's not the Constitution wasn't written from the Bible. It was written from man's perspective. So I think they're worthy of respect. They're worthy in that sense because they're made in God's image and they're people. They're human beings. And if you're a Christian, they're neighbors. You love your neighbor as yourself. But having to agree and support and all of that, nah. I don't got to do that. I don't got to do that at all. And I don't. And I think if that makes people mad, then so be it. I believe I'm on the side of truth. And when I stand before the Lord, I'm hoping that I'll eventually get to stand beside him. And that's that. And so I get it. People will be mad, be offended. Do you? Get offended. But what I said, I believe it stands. And now let's go to a lot of comments in this bad boy. This could be a 3-hour conversation. All right, so let me just tell you right now, there's a lot of comments. I may not hit all of them because I got kids. This is the first day of school. My kids are coming home, and there's a lot going on. So I got to attend to that. All right, here we go. Steph Curry won. Okay, yeah, he won a 3-point contest against Sabrina. My bad. I don't care. It was my bad. But it was my point was that happened, and it was Sabrina Ionescu, a white girl, long blonde hair. No one was saying it was about race then. Why didn't they choose a black woman to shoot threes? Why didn't they choose, whoever? Dejanay, why didn't they choose somebody else that could shoot threes? They chose her because but it wasn't about race. So that was the point more. But yeah, Steph Curry won. I don't remember. Basketball players and athletes and entertainers. The successful ones who get endorsements are likable as well as talented. Asia and the rest are not likable. Okay, I hear what you're saying. I would have to know what you mean, like why you would say they're not likable, but I see what you're saying. I think there's always, it depends on what you mean because there's a toughness to the way Asia Wilson plays that you got to respect, especially if you're a sports fan. You understand that. You get that. It's competition. You get it. I don't think it's about likable in the sense, but I see what you're getting at. If you're speaking from a corporate company, they would say not as marketable. They would say that. But I don't think it's likable in terms of, I think she's a post player. I think in the modern era of basketball, post play is almost gone. It's almost gone. It exists because the positions, you still have a center and a power forward, but even like Denver Nuggets big dude, Jokic. That dude's a big, like, walrus-looking dude, right? But he sometimes is on the perimeter shooting threes. So the post-up game is not likable, and that's what Asia Wilson plays. I don't know if it's her necessarily, but you're entitled to that. For whatever the reason, Swoops makes herself like nasty. I agree with that. I said that in the previous video. So 2 videos ago, I talked about what Cheryl Swoops is doing. I don't want to recover that because there's too many comments in here. All right. Romans 1, sin never stops until it's dead. That's why the wages of sin is death. You're seeing a culture of people, God has let go of their way, and it's so debased now in culture that people do not fight. Yeah, I agree with that. But I think the culture, so I'll be honest with you, this is where I would say, I agree with everything you just said, Caleb. I think the culture has, God, I don't think the culture was ever positioned to love God anyway. So I think God is just other sins are becoming more acceptable. Because before, I think American history is replete with a decimation of the second greatest commandment: love your neighbor as yourself. American history has totally dismantled that. Christians did that, and so I think what we're seeing now is the fruit of that. You can't do that and then think that God's okay with that, or think that some cultural or societal progress means God approved of the character. No. God will bless because he wants to see mankind excel, but that doesn't mean he approves of character. So I think what we're seeing now happen in our culture is what's been happening. It's just now we're more exposed to it because We have technology. Technology shows us what's happening. And the reality of what's happening is people are sinning more because they're seeing more of it, because technology is displaying it, and they feel more comfortable doing it because, like misery loves company, so does sexuality and all other sins. Good afternoon, my man. Good afternoon. Can you relate? Angel and Caitlin were the best things that happened to social media in years, and everyone, including y'all, are exploiting them. Yep. And having race to include makes it even better. It's okay. Yeah, I agree. Exploiting, I would disagree with exploiting, though, because exploiting has a negative connotation. There's nothing sinful or wrong about talking about people who are popular and making an impact in society. That's not exploit, my friend. Exploit has a negative connotation. I'm not exploiting Caitlin Clark. I'm talking about someone and giving a perspective on them in a public platform where everyone is doing that. So I would disagree with that. So it was all about her NILs and her endorsements. I think that had a lot to do with it, to be honest. Especially Angel Reese. I think because no one was talking. Angel Reese, let's be clear, and I think she's a good player. I don't think she's better than Caitlin Clark, not even close. I don't. But let's just be clear. Angel Reese was talking about Angel Reese. She was the one saying, I'm as good. People are watching me too. She put her name out there as Rookie of the Year, and then people latched onto it. She was doing that because she has endorsements that she needs to still keep. If her name loses value, then she's going to lose those endorsements, and that's millions of dollars. She just got a Reese's Pieces endorsement because her name has value. But it's not because most people think she helped people think that. It's like Kanye West. Kanye West started calling himself a genius when he came out, and all of a sudden people started calling him a genius. I was like, Kanye West isn't a genius. He's not. Geniuses usually are identified by an IQ and their accomplishments. Kanye West isn't a genius. People aren't calling him a genius now, right? So she self-made herself into the Rookie of the Year. Yes, she's gotten good double doubles and all that's true, but it's not like her play. She's a post player. Again, post players. They don't have the same impact as guards. But what she did was to keep her endorsements. We need a heterosexual pride league. Yeah, that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. Before CC knew about Bird, Taurasi, and more. Yeah, I knew. I heard those names: Sue Bird, Taurasi, and Maya Moore. I heard the names, but they weren't enough for me to go watch them. I think people are watching now. Sue Bird, they call her the GOAT, but no one really was watching Sue Bird. Not Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi. I mean, I liked Sue Bird when they were at Connecticut. I thought they were good. They were ballers. I remember them at Connecticut. I remember Rebecca Lobo and all. I remember them, but it wasn't enough. I didn't really follow women's basketball then. And I think a lot of people would say they watch it now largely because of Caitlin Clark. We need a heterosexual play so we can have equity. That's funny. I hear that. But what the WNBA doesn't realize that when your main focus is a small community, what can you relate? Thank you. You get what I'm saying. Thank you, brother. Thank you. When your focus is a small percentage of the American population, you can't complain about your growth. Well said, brother. And think about this. You know, now more people are identifying that way, but it's still a small percentage. Less than it was. I don't know. I don't even know how you quantify. I don't know how they, but I think they would say less than 7% or something like that. WNBA should only be concerned about 100%. Dennis, I agree. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. It should be about just play basketball, just ball out, and that's what's happening. Caitlin Clark is making you think about basketball again and not sexuality and all these other things. That's the real issue. The WNBA won't admit it, but that's one of the reasons their viewership wasn't growing because of the homosexual promotion. I spoke to a woman who said she didn't want to take her kids to. This is the point I was making. I think when you attach the sexual ethic to a sport, now you can't just go to a game and watch it. You take kids to basketball games. You have to now explain to your children and have conversations that you don't want to have with them. I 100% agree. It's hard to convince them otherwise. Yeah, 100%. The veterans fear that CC is going to expose them for not being as good as they've been telling themselves and the rest of the world. That could be it. That's probably it, Philip. Because of the pride, because of the women PDA with other women, I don't think she was a believer. Yeah, I agree. Philip, that she is doing is coming out more and more. Yeah. Let me see. I think you got a point. Thank you, Marty. I appreciate that, bro. How would you answer people who was on there, shut up and dribble? I would say the same thing to them, shut up and dribble. The same thing. Shut up and dribble. I mean, but I think there's something to that though. And granted, I know they're not the same, but they are both framed as social justice issues that these sports do. Like, yeah, the shut up and dribble stuff largely was Laura Ingraham from Fox News or whatever. She was the one that told LeBron James shut up and dribble. Again, but I understand what she's saying though. I understand what she's getting at. I think there's some wisdom in that. But I think what I would say, the difference I would say is that race issues are a foundational aspect of America as a nation. I mean, let's be clear. So if we're 1607, then America is 417 years old. Let's just say that 1967 Fair Housing Act, even though that wasn't the last civil rights law, but let's just say that was the last of the systemic racism in America. Let's say that was true, right? So so you're talking now 57 years. So a country that's 417 years old has no longer been racist and demonstrated that as a mass element of its society for the last 57 years. So only that portion of America is the freest it's ever been, no slaves, no systemic racism. So the vast majority then, the other 360 years of America's existence have been riddled with this on some level, right? So race is going to always play a factor for quite a long time, maybe always until Jesus returns. And so when you say shut up and dribble to something like that, it carries more dismissive arrogance because of the history. Sexuality doesn't have the tenure that race and ethnicity do. So, all right, okay, yeah, you brought it up because people go watch the game. I agree. All right, I can't remember exactly what I said right there. This is where empathy comes into play. We all understand what's right and wrong. Now, when it comes to more religious stuff, that's a whole different can of worms. Have empathy that I don't understand. Right? Okay. Exactly. It's not about color. It's about player skill. We look for skill. 100%, Mason. Like I'm not. I don't care about what color you are. If you can ball, you can ball. Yes, thank you, Matthew. Tina Thompson. That's who it was. She was vicious. Tina Thompson with when the Houston Comets, when they won them championships with Cheryl, Tina Thompson was tough. She was shoot. She was balling 100%. Stands your sexual, social issues. We can go from there 100%. Angel Reese is a good basketball, but she's not that great. Does that make me racist? No, it doesn't make you racist. No, not at all. That's crazy. United Sisters of America. Shannon, 100%. It was good to talk to your husband yesterday, too. Miss you guys. Yep, saw that. CC may not be the best, but she's about 100%, Philip. But she's becoming one of the best, though. She's figuring the game out. Like, even that statement is telling she's a rookie. She's played, 27 professional games? And saying she may not be the best? Even that statement is wild because she's played 27 games. She's not going to be the best. Facts. Yep, 100%. Part of the big three, the first 4 years. Yep, of the Houston Comets. Yeah, she was tough, man. That was good. Exactly. Yeah, you're just over it. Like, we get it, fam. We get it. You like to have sex with. Okay, on one level, like, attention, all LGBTQIA non-gender. So what, fam? Like, we get it. Like, it's not okay. We don't care. If that's what you want to do it. But I agree with certain things. I disagree with certain things, and I'm going to stand by those. I don't care. I'm not going to be like, try to figure out who you are. I just would rather not talk to you than be like, okay, what do you identify as? And what do you, it's just like, we're over it. Like, we get it. That's why people push back in the Olympics. That's why, because it's like, look, we don't care, fam. Why is it so important that you need to flaunt that? We don't care. Like, if you want to do that, do that. And when you stand before God, you will give an account for whatever you thought was right. You will give an account to God for that. And if you don't think there's no God, you will give an account to God for that too. But my whole point is like, man, and people are tired of it. People are tired of it, and they classify it as being woke, but it's not even about being woke. It's something totally different. Individuals are always used to endorse the league. The NBA, 100% Magic. But this is. I think I know where you're going. This is a good point. The NBA used Magic and Bird, and then Michael Jordan elevated where the WS 100%, bro. This is what you just saying right now is like what Stephen A. Smith, what Shannon Sharp, and people were saying, like, let her play on the Olympic team because that's what it can do. They were getting booed. The USA Olympic team. Keep in mind, they've won a gold medal since the last 32 years, since 1992. They have not lost a gold medal since then. But yet they had the lowest attendance in the Olympics because people were like they're like, we know you're going to win. We're not pressed to see you play. But if you'd have brought Caitlin Clark out there, the stadium would have been packed. She's phenom. She's a phenom. Gary, have you seen the Linda Dunn week interview she gave? LOL. We reported zero hard questions. Dunn saying that the boost they have is because the last 4 or 5 years are over. Nah, I've heard about that. She's wilding. She's wilding, Gary. Wilding. Or Jerry, she's wilding. She's trying to save face. And you know why? But you know why she has to say that? Because of this. She has to say that because of this, Jerry. Look. Because of what it says right here. Look at this. The WNBA was the first professional sports league in the U.S. to officially recognize Pride as an initiative starting in 2014. This move has been part of a broader strategy to embrace equality and combat bias against. They have to say this. She has to say this, fam. She has to say that stuff because they're one of the biggest promoters. They put money behind and think about this. The WNBA has been subsidizing the NBA has been subsidizing the WNBA since it started. Pride gave them, they needed all the money they could get. And then you got women who largely identify as that, not the whole league, but enough that you can watch a game and be like, yeah, you get it. You get it. So it's like, it's just, it's crazy. I get why she says she has to. Late to the party, but hello from Michigan. What's up, H. Perry? Good to see you. Jerry, Dunn has to go. She's in denial and her, before she leaves 3 dealer sides. I don't know about that. I don't think Chrissy Sides is doing that bad, man. To be honest with you, she's a new coach. It's her second year as a head coach, at least of the Fever. And they won 13 games last year, and they won more. I think people are giving Caitlin Clark too much credit, like acting like they would be like winning if Chrissy Sides was maybe Chrissy Sides isn't that great of a coach. I will say that. You could tell sometimes she doesn't know what she's doing. But like Caitlin Clark, she's figuring it out. I don't know if she'd be fired right away. I think some people think Caitlin didn't come in. No, she didn't develop certain skill sets. She was predictable when she came in. These women had been watching tape, and they were like, we're not going to get shown up by this rookie. We're not going. That's a whole other level that we didn't even cover. The beauty of Caitlin Clark is the values that have been instilled in her from her parents. She's a class act always. At least when she talks after the games. I see her in the games jawboning though. She ain't got no wholesome, but it's competitive. I get it. Cece doesn't complain about toxic men and the struggles of being a woman. She loves her dad and brothers, and they don't want her to be 100%. 100%. That's what I'm talking about. On his odd. That's what I'm talking about. That right there, that's what I'm talking about. That's the real reason why they're offended. It's not because she's white. It's not because of racism, the historical. No, that's a smokescreen. It's just you play that card because it brings you back to the emotional responses of the past. No, it's because of this stuff. It's because she represents heterosexuality, normativity. She represents that heteronormativity across the boardwalk, and it's like, and then there's an excitement that they just want to see basketball. And to someone else's comment, some of them are being exposed for not being as great as they thought. So that's the thing. Everyone has a agenda. We can't have a clean game. 100%. You don't see this in the NBA. You don't see none of this stuff in the NFL, none of this stuff in the MLB, NHL. There's gay people all in them leagues, man. They might even be lovers playing with or against each other, but you just see them play sports. You can go to a game and know it's going to be about sports. You go to a NBA game, you're going to get agenda. And you just don't want to do that. That's not what we watch sports for. That's not what we go. I don't pay money. I'm a Washington Commanders season ticket holder, right? I'm a depressed season ticket holder. This season, I'm hoping to come out of the depression. I don't go to the game. There's probably gay players. I don't go to the game to watch these guys hold up flags and stuff and identify their sexuality. I don't care, fam. If that's what you want to do, everyone will give an account to God. I actually am concerned for you for different reasons. I just want to watch the game, man. If you're good at what you do, go do it. If you're a lesbian and you can ball, go ball. Drop 35. Hit threes from the half court light. Impress me. But I don't care about your sexuality. I'm not going to be your ally. I don't care about that. And most people are just tired of feeling like we have to care about that stuff. And that's why. That's what it's really about. It's not about race. I've seen many videos of Caitlin Clark highlights. They're absolutely mind-blowing. 100%. Videos of Age of Reach low lights are absolutely mind-numbing. I've seen that too, brother. I've seen that too. Same thing. CC exposed the WNBA side betting from all these girls. They mad. They thought it was what I think is going on. Yeah, I think that's part of it too. One thing she exposed is the game of basketball. You got people praising mediocre basketball while someone like Rickea Jackson, 100%. Rickea Jackson is ball, man. I was just thinking about her a couple days ago, bro. That's so funny you bring that up. I was just thinking about her a couple of days ago. I really enjoy her passing 100%. Like, bro, she threw a pass. She got the rebound. She took 2 steps, maybe 3 or 4 steps, threw a pass over everyone else to a teammate that was cutting. It wasn't Lexi Hall. I forgot who it was. Called it, boom, layup. She didn't take more than 4 dribbles. That's the stuff that we want to see. We want to see that. I don't care if you have sex with, fine, but I don't care. I don't need to know. That's the problem with the whole sexual acronym community. It's just TMI. There's too much information. We don't want to know. We don't care. Just do what you do. We don't care about that. And that goes on all things, even race. It's like, listen, man, if you're an actor, be an actor, man. That's what the shut up and dribble. I understand where she was coming from, but I think under that, but the way she said it in the context, it wasn't a good look. I don't know if people are really tired of race. A month ago, I saw a clip from Fox Sports News, and he mentioned on radio that a racial talk made the Clark discourse more interesting. When I say people are tired of race, I don't mean every single person. Of course, there are people, Narukami, who are not tired of race because, like I said in one segment in this video, race is the foundational dynamic of American history, and not just race, but between white and black people. That is the Lakers versus Celtics of race relations in America. There are Koreans that hate Chinese, but we don't care about that. Now, the next thing that for us would be Jew and German. If there were a heavyweight championship, I bet you many of you don't watch boxing at all. You don't even care about boxing. You may watch UFC, maybe not. You don't even care about it. But let there be a heavyweight champion that's a German, and the number one contender is a Jew, is Jewish. The whole world's going to watch that fight. Why? Because there's a history between Jews and Germans. That fight's going to become a political onslaught. All the Jews are going to be like for Israel. It's going to all because of the history. There's a history between white and black people that when you bring it up, someone's going to pay attention. That's all it is. I'm not saying no one is interested. I'm just saying I think it is about race in the sense that it will never not be about race in America, probably until Jesus returns. I wouldn't say race doesn't play any part, but I fear is the main factor. Nobody wants to get smashed by Iowa Kate. Yeah, I think that's it. I said why I think race plays a part, so I think it is. I said what I meant by it, but it's not my concern is not about race in the historical sense in the way we define race. Like people love Caitlin Clark because she's white and not A'ja Wilson because she's black. That's how they're trying to describe it, like it's about race. That's not what it's about race. That's not. It's the Tiger Woods effect. It was about race with Tiger Woods because he did something that historically better than white people who historically are the only ones that really play that sport. That's what so for Caitlin Clark, she's doing things in a league that's dominated by black people. You don't see white people doing it. It's like, whoa. In that sense, it's about race. But it's not about race. Like people love her. And some people do, but I just don't think that's it. I agree with you, but some people are angry, emotional, and very radical. Maybe it's because of social media like Twitter or TikTok, and some people just took basketball seriously. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah. What the F? I don't know what you're talking about right there, Jerry. I have no idea what that means. Instead of trying to outplay CeCe, a lot of her opponents try to hurt her. I wouldn't say a lot of her opponents try to hurt her. I think they want to outplay her. I don't think they want to hurt her. Some people have. You know, she got the hard foul from Angel Reese. She got bumped by Kennedy Carter. Dejanay Carrington has been. But I think most people, they don't want to hurt her. You got to remember, man, these women are competitors too. And what they're more offended at is that when they play against Indiana, more people are at their games when they play her than any. So when they play against her, she is the Super Bowl for everyone, the championship for everyone. Especially when you have a chip on you want to show her up. This is why when I talked in my video two, 3 videos ago, when Seattle Storm, they had beaten Indiana three times. In that fourth game, they got smacked by Indiana. And I remember watching the third game, Jewel Lloyd dropped 36 points. She was cooking. I'm talking about, I was like, man, it was like watching Steph Curry or Jordan. They just couldn't stop her. She was coming in, crossover, pull up, boom. She was cooking. After the game, couldn't wait to talk. But then when they lost, I'm not talking about anybody but our rookies. They didn't ask you about your rookies. They asked you about what you think about Caitlin Clark's play. They were offended because You want to play good against her because everyone's watching. And if she's the standard and you play better than her, then people are going to know your name. It's a way to be known. It's no different. It's a way to be known. She's more famous than them, and they've been in the league longer, and so they're going to. So it's really about that. I don't think everyone's trying to hurt her, though. I think some did, but I think they're trying to outplay her because of that. I know this and everyone else is, yeah, right. Let me see. Some of these comments, I'm not going to hit everything. We had 100. Well said, Philip. Serena Williams, it was a great 100%. I kid you not. Arthur Ashe. You know why because tennis is a white person sport, or white. And I don't mean white like American white, just complexion of skin. Some Latinos play tennis, but it's largely a white person sport. So Serena and Venus come in from Compton, L.A., black girls from the hood, and they can play. And it was like everyone was watching them. Now, but like people still watch like Coco Gauff and some of the black play, but because now black women play tennis, the black women aren't getting the same notoriety as the Williams girls did, because when they came in, I don't even know if anybody had been black since Arthur Ashe. So that's 100% the point. Yep, Doug Williams, first black woman in the Super Bowl, 100% on my team, the Redskins. But the thing about Doug Williams, 87, the problem with that is it was during a year where a lot of the main players weren't playing. So like some people don't view that as like, oh, he really, even though it was a Super Bowl, it was like LeBron James winning in the bubble. It was like, yeah, it counts, but it doesn't count. So it doesn't get talked about as much. But yeah, he was the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl. It's pretty much racism. Some of the black WNBA players are just showing their colors. I think they're using racism as a crutch. I don't think it's about racism though. I think it's about favoritism, in the sense that they're calling it racism because they don't want to admit what it really is. They don't want to admit that they really wish they were. It's envy. It's envyism, jealousyism. That's what they wanted. Listen. I don't know what you do, Javelina, but like if you're an athlete or if you're an entertainer of some sort, if you're a singer, whatever, you don't do what you do so that no one hears it or appreciates it, right? Every one of these women who are in the WNBA, there's only 12 teams in the league, 144 players. That means every one of the women that play in this league were a star in college. They were used to the fame, and they probably all thought or at least hoped that when they came to the WNBA, they would bring the recognition that Caitlin Clark is. And they get to the league and reality bites. Now you're 5 years in the league, you're barely making enough money. You probably got to travel after the league to go overseas to play elsewhere. You get a job during the rest of the year. You're using your college degree to make money during the rest of the year, and you take off in the summers to play in the WNBA because it's your love, but it's not your income. There's a lot of people, and then now this girl comes and everyone's talking about basketball. Everyone's talking about her. A lot of it isn't about racism, but about to be honest with you, I think a lot of these women are just hurt. They're disappointed because they wanted to be the ones that were in Caitlin Clark's shoes and do for the league, whatever it is. It's selfish ambition. That's the best way I think. I don't think it's racism. I think it's selfish ambition. I'm a Redskins fan, heart and soul. That's the best. That's the best comment. You have the best comment of this whole chat. I'm the Redskins fan. I appreciate you more and more. I knew there was a reason I read this comment. I hope Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese will make some impact to WNBA. I do. I think so, but I don't think the problem is. Yeah. I think they will. I think we have to relate things to other things to it make sense to us. So to call it the Bird and Magic, it makes sense to us. But Angel Reese isn't having the impact that Bird or Magic have for their teams, but Caitlin Clark is. But because we want to relate to it, and because they're white and black, it's association. We are people that understand things by association. So that's why we say, oh, you sound like such and such. Oh, you shoot like, because that's how we function, association. So by association, sure, Magic and Bird, but not by skill and prowess. I don't think so. But by association, sure, I agree. You sound like race played big. You sound like race played big in your life. Tiger Woods was as big as anomaly as Eminem. There hasn't a greater black offer since. I think I understand your comment, but yeah, I think if I understand your comment, yeah, I think race did play big, but it wasn't race in the the hatred race. It was the we've never seen black people do this. Same with Eminem. We haven't seen a white rapper rap like this ever. It's race in that sense, where you're so used to black people doing good at this stuff that when they do it, you're not impressed. Like if I come up here and rap and you could be like, that was tight, but I'm black. I'm supposed to rap. I'm supposed to be this. I'm supposed to be that. I'm supposed to be athletic. But when you come in, it's like, oh my gosh, I never heard anybody. It just changes things, right? I made a joke about Bobby Caldwell in the song, "What You Won't Do for Love. You tried everything and you won't give up." You know, most of us thought he was black. He sounded like a black dude. Then you see the video and you're like, what? Looks like a white dude who works for IBM. It blew everybody away. And it blew because we thought white people don't sing like this. They don't sound like that. It's just that in that sense, it's about race. That'll always happen. I got to go to some people who you definitely way off on this one. I have been for a long time. Not a big deal. It's not essential. Profound. Thank you for saying that. I don't care if you think I'm way off on this. It's a YouTube channel. It's my perspective. And so your comment, I put it on here for you, but I don't really care if you think I'm way off. There are other people that would disagree with you, that agree with me, and I think that's fine. And I'm old enough that we can agree to disagree, brother. But saying I'm way off, that doesn't mean anything. Make a YouTube video, expose why I'm wrong, tag me in it so I can watch your video and see your explanation. Coming in my comment section, telling me I'm wrong and leaving a laughing emoji doesn't do anything except for you. So I'll give you your props and put it on the screen for anyone watching. But show me I'm wrong, not in a comment. Make a video. You have a YouTube channel. You're connected. Make a video and explain to me where I'm wrong, because that's all it is YouTube. And to counter to make the point I'm making, here's the next comment. Your points are bullseye, right? This is part of why cats are turned off by Kaepernick kneeling, 100%. Whether you agree with the reasons or not, cats don't want to deal with that as sports. Sports is simply seen as an escape, 100%. I think that's part of it. I think there was more to it, but I think you're right, Rich. A lot of people are like, man, I don't want to hear this, man. Just play football. And Kaepernick wasn't even that good. If it were like the best player in the league, I think it would have been different. People would have received it differently. Cap was riding the bench by the time he was doing that. So it seemed also like, man, you're not even getting no playing time. Now look, Cap was good when Alex Smith was a starting quarterback for San Francisco, and then he got hurt. And they were balling. They were like 8-0, 7-0, something like that. They had maybe 6, 7-1. They were balling that year. Cap came in and they kept winning. So people thought, but see, the team was good enough. They had a certain vibe with Alex Smith that when Cap came in, he was able to keep that vibe. And they ended up going to the Super Bowl that year. So everyone thought, well, we don't need Alex Smith now because we could still win without him. And then it was clear the next season, Cap was exposed. And then a couple years later, it becomes he's taking a knee. So yeah, but a lot of people were like, man, I'm just, please do another video about this. About the sexual agenda. Yeah, I definitely will. This stuff is pretty plain to me, but I mean, obviously you're going to have people who disagree with you. Why can't we like both players? Why can't like both players, Clark and Angel Reese? But yeah, I think you can like both. I think some, but here's the thing. Caitlin Clark has never said we need to focus on Me Too. Angel Reese did that. So she, in one sense, like I think people do like both players, but only one of those players is drawing attention in that sense. All right. I wish they had that attitude. I wish they had that attitude in the time when black athletes were allowed to play in the white leagues. I think sports like baseball, football would have been looking. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that, bro. Totally agree with that. Black baseball players are just getting their due. Some of them. So the Negro leagues, players are balling. They're just starting to get their due. LOL, I came to see a game. These cats over here kneeling. Now I got to worry about somebody asking me what I think about it. 100%. Sounds like you believe blacks are better athletes, and it's true to some extent, but far from in reality. There are a lot of sports in this world. Well, I think you got to put it in context of what I'm saying, brother. I didn't say every sport. What I'm talking about is in America. My context is America, fam. So in basketball, football, and I named the sports. I said basketball, football. I didn't say soccer, all that track and field. I think, I'm talking about in America. My context was God bless black people with the black culture has always been the cutting edge of what's hip or not. From God gospel music to sort of Motown R&B to then rap music. Rap music is still the number one. I think this year was the first year that country music took over rap music as the most money maker. But that's like a 49-year run, a 45-year run. So my context was America, Gary. I'm not saying that all over the world there are sports that just black people don't play. I'm talking about the athleticism that black people have is uniquely something black people have. But that doesn't mean we're the best at all sports. Some sports don't require the kind of athleticism. So that's what I meant, bro. I'm not buying this analysis. Racism works like, wow, Tiger Woods is better than any white person, so it has to be diminished. Courage, discount to make him less. Yeah, but I don't even know what you're talking about, Botox. I have no idea what you're talking about. So I would say this, in retort to you, I'm not buying your analysis. I'm not buying it like that. I think the vast majority of people were surprised that Tiger Woods was black and was playing golf better. So if you're saying you disagree with that, that's totally fine. I'm old enough to agree to disagree. You don't have to buy this analysis because I'm not selling it. It's YouTube. I'm just making my point. You don't have to agree, bro. It's YouTube, man. You don't have to agree. I obviously don't agree with you, but guess what? Life goes on. When I'm done with this video, I'll go talk to my son, ask him how his first day of school was, wait for my other two sons to come home, talk to them, hang out with them, do that, and then watch the game. It doesn't really matter, but thanks for your input. Good word, brother. Case in point, I had no idea Kate Martin is a lesbian. Yeah. I didn't know either until I saw some article about her taking pictures with her girlfriend or something. All right, winding down. All right, here's the difference between WNBA. Other leagues, I meant to say stick together with each other when it comes to injustice and things like the W wants you to accept it. I agree with that. Second best rookie in the WNBA, far better than Rickea Jackson. That young lady can ball, and she's easy on the eye. I agree. I think Rickea Jackson is beautiful, 100%. Same with Cameron Brink. There's attractive women. I think guys are. I mean, let's be honest. Guys, if we're going to watch a sport that has predominantly women, men want to be attracted to the women that they're watching. That's just how it is. We're superficial. We're this. We're men. It is. So when you see a bunch of women, you're not attracted to them. It also adds to the fact that you're not as excited to watch them play. And so now you see a bunch of heterosexual women coming in, and you're also attracted to them. That also, at least for men, it will inspire men and I guess lesbian women to watch more. I mean, this is the stuff people just don't want to say. It's easy to call things race because it's just simplistic and it makes sense. Because again, we identify things by association. We're either literally. So are you saying? Of course, that's not what I'm saying. We learn things. We talk in context, man. But we're people who live by association. That's why people sound like this. You rap like this. This tastes like this. You look like this. You sing like this. It's always association. And so, yeah, I think because of that, we associate the WNBA with a sexuality that most men aren't drawn to. And so when you see women come in that are attractive, it's like, hey, I'll watch this. It's just the same thing. Men can go to the gym and watch a woman work out who's sweaty and all that, but if she's attractive, you don't care if she's sweaty or not. It's the same principle. It is what it is. But people don't want to talk about this. They don't want to say that. They get mad at me or say, I don't agree with you. Who cares if you agree? Like, this isn't about, I don't make videos to make people agree. I make videos because it's my perspective. If you bang with it, you bang with it. If you don't, you don't. I'm fine if we disagree. I get it, man. I get it. I'm not offended at that. I think, but I think it's just funny that people think like this. No, this is just, it's YouTube. It's YouTube. Hold on. Some WNBA players have issue with Caitlin Clark because she is straight, not lesbian. Maybe Candace Wiggins wasn't lying about being bullied because, she definitely wasn't lying about that. What was wild about that issue was when she came out, you know who they brought out as the spokesperson to push back? Brianna Stewart. That's just like, why? She that's not the person that should be pushing back against Candace Wiggins and others who said like, hey, this league is doing this. Okay, let me go through. Let me see. Caitlin Clark is a total package and more importantly off the court. I think so. I agree. This comment right here is the comment. This second best comment besides I'm a Redskins fan right here. Being compared to Caitlin Clark screwed up Reese's head. Reese is a role player who thinks her role is much bigger than this right here. I think was it. I think for Angel Reese, she won a NCAA championship against Caitlin Clark. She lost the second year. Remember that when she was crying, saying that she gets bullied, but she kind of prided herself on being the bully, doing this in her face and doing all of that. Remember that she was crying after her? And I mean, some people went after her in ways that they shouldn't. But when you're a public figure, that's going to happen. But she did a lot of that the year before, right? Being compared to Caitlin Clark, who didn't win a championship, that's also huge. And that's another reason why they call it race, because they think she didn't win a championship. But like we could name a ton of players who didn't win an NBA championship that are still like pull up when you get a chance, look at the 100 greatest players in the NBA. And look at how many of them did not win a championship. We don't consider great players to be the ones because if that's the case, if winning a championship is the only way you could be considered great, then what do you say to all the people who won because they were on the team? What do you say to the guy who played with the 97 Chicago Bulls who went 72-10, right? So Bill Wennington has rings with the Chicago Bulls. Is he greater than Charles Barkley, who never won an NBA ring? No. So that's part of what he's saying here. What I agree with Philip is people get offended because people think Clark's the better player, but now they're saying, but she didn't win a ring. But there's tons of players that you can only win the ring one time. There's hundreds of thousands of people, millions over history vying for one championship. There's going to be a ton of people who don't win it. That's why this stuff is just crazy to me. Clark is an ambassador WNBA has ever had. I agree. From a viewership standpoint, who paid the price for their nonsensical decision of not including? I don't know. They did. The WNBA did pay the price. I agree with that. I'm a barber and I work for myself, and every client I have I have to watch the subject of the conversation I have. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. What parent would want to bring their daughters to a Sky game to see dirty, cheap shot basketball? Some will, but probably not many, bro. Probably not many. Oh, in the Olympics, yeah, you're right. They need to do away with this initiative. They're not going to. They're not going to. All right, we're wrapping up. Some of these comments are kind of saying the same thing, and it's the same people. I appreciate it. But because of time, this video's already got an hour and 26. So I'm just skimming through, and no offense, you guys are saying some good stuff, but I think a lot of it is just kind of stuff that we've already said. So if somebody new, a newer comment from someone, Washu, LOL, the media or any hater cannot change the fan base loyalty. Like telling Christians to hate Jesus needs a miracle. 100% Washu. 100%. Let me see. Christian Clark's Christian values is the opposite of the WNBA establishment. Well said, brother. This is something that no one ever talks about, right? Rakia was drafted above Reese for a reason. This is the thing. I appreciate that. Let me tell you why. Because Reese was drafted 7th. So you had Caitlin Clark, then Cameron Brink was number 2. I think Rakia Jackson was 3. Was she 3? She may have been 3. And then Angel Reese was 7th. They didn't draft Angel Reese 7th because the first 6 teams really needed her, but thought, no, they drafted her because they think these other players are better. When you're in the draft, you draft who you think is the best player at the time for when you're on the board. It's fantasy. Well, unless you have some intel. But most teams are going to pick whoever they think is the best player on the draft. She went 7th, and there were 6 other people that other teams thought were better than her or fit what they needed. And let's be clear, Cameron Brink plays down low some like Angel Reese did, but they wanted her instead of her. Is it because she's black and Cameron Brink is white? No, you only play that card because it's a card that is easy to play based on American history dynamics. That's why that card gets played a lot. But then in reality, it's like, no one really cares. No one cares. Last comment. You have a good point on this topic because you are more balanced, but people won't like that because they want to be radical. Yeah, honestly. So since 2017, Blaze, I've been telling people to stay balanced and talking like this. I will critique. I'm from the streets, but I will critique the black community in a heartbeat. I do not support the Democrats. I do not support the Republicans. I think the Democrats been lying to black people for decades, and Republicans been lying to Christians for decades. The lesser of two evils is still evil. I don't bang with none of them. I'm with him, not him or her. So to me, but I think for people, we're lazy. We think of ourselves as free thinkers, but we're really just lazy. So when you come outside, when you actually think about something and present it, some people will get offended because to them, it's this. It's all, you can't see it differently than that. It's not because I don't get it. There are some people in here, they have no idea how much research I've put into these things and how much time and effort I put into understanding these things. Please don't mistake this little video and thinking that I'm saying everything I know or think about this issue. I've given a lot of thought to this. When people come in and just with a comment say, well, you're wrong. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. I mean, you have every right to do that. It's a public platform. You do not have to agree with me. I'm okay with that, but I will still continue to make videos. But yeah, I think that people want it to be radical, or they want it to be what they believe to be true. And sometimes you just haven't done the research. I didn't even present all the research I have because I'm not making 4-hour videos. All right. But that's it. Appreciate you guys. This is the Caitlin Clark video I've been wanting to make. And I gave you guys a lot of I skipped a lot of comments because it's already an hour and a half video. The algorithm is not going to give me any love on this video. So like and subscribe to the channel. Make comments on the real actual video, because the algorithm is not going to give me a good joint because this is too long of a video. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much for all your comments. Even the ones that disagree, I'm good with that. I don't think you're a hater for disagreeing. I just think we agree to disagree. I just don't care if you disagree as much as you may want me to. I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me. All right? Grace and peace, y'all. See you.